Hello, and welcome to the 2018 Canadian Electrical Code. My name is Carlo Tura. Today, we will be discussing this book, the 2018 Canadian Electrical Code, and it is the 24th edition. Just as a little overview, for those of you not familiar with the code, you might look at it and see that it's actually quite large in size. In comparison to the previous edition, the code rules have not changed very much. The main feature, the main change that has occurred to this code is the size of the words, the font size of the letters have increased significantly. I take it makes it easier for those with visual impairment to read the document. Just as an overview on the first page, which talks about the Canadian Standard Update Service C22.1-18, it is really important that you update your code book or submit the information to CSA with the tech support at csagroup.org. Register for updates by using the list ID number, and what happens is CSA will actually send you the erratas. However, everyone does have, I believe, a different list ID number. Now, carrying on into the Canadian Electrical Code Book, on page 1 we have the table of contents, and it outlines very well the where you can find all the information. We start off under the table of contents by seeing all the committees on the Canadian Electrical Code. We have the Executive Committee, Subsection Committee. An important part that we will discuss very briefly is the preface, metric units, conduit size, and reference publications before we go into other sections. Now, as you look in the table of contents, you'll notice that the sections are broken up into even numbers. For example, Section 2 is general rules, Section 4 are conductors, 6 is service and service equipment. Why is that so? Do you know why the code is broken up into even numbers? That's for the possibility of additional sections to be added in the future. Now, as we carry on through the index, we talk about the committees on the Electrical Code Part 1. We won't be discussing very much about that, but realize that there are many committees dealing with the parts of the code. Notice that not only do we have the provincial regulatory bodies representing the code committee, but we also have special interest groups, electrical industry, unions, other countries, and engineering firms that represent or apply input into the CSA committee. As we proceed through on page 15, we have the Regulatory Authority Committee, and those are the chief instructors or chief inspectors of each individual province representing the code. Next, we have on page 21 the subsection committees. So on every section of the code, we have a chair with other committee members that represent that section. As we go through the code book, we come to page 43, which is the prefix. And this 24th edition of the Canadian Electrical Code was approved by the Committee on the Canadian Electrical Code Part 1 and by the Regulatory Authority Committee at their June 2017 meeting in Halifax. The 24th edition supersedes all previous editions. This edition features important revisions to many sections. Section 26 now mandates the use of tamper-resistant receptacles. In addition, areas where children may be present. Section 62 now requires ground fault circuit interrupter protectors for heating devices and controls in proximity to tubs, sinks, and showers. Section 10 has been updated, reorganized, and significantly reduced in length. Requirements for power over Ethernet systems have been added to Section 16, and requirements for marine, wharfs, and similar facilities have been substantially updated and reorganized in Section 78. To address the increasing use of electric vehicles, Section 18 now formally recognizes energy management systems as a method of reducing the load on building services. Because lighting control devices associated with energy management or home automation require power to operate, Section 4 now requires that an identified conductor be provided for all devices controlling permanently installed luminaires. Other revisions of this edition include the following. In Section 26, Rules 26.400 to 26.726 have been reorganized and renumbered in order to group related concepts together and provide a more logical flow for the requirements. In many sections, the redundant use of the term approved has been eliminated. Clarification has been provided on arc fault circuit interrupter protection for bathrooms, washrooms, existing circuits, and circuits supplying carbon monoxide and smoke alarms. Requirements for dining areas and refrigerator circuits have been clarified. The term jacketed, insulated, and covered as applied to conductors have been clarified through new definitions of the term jacket and a revised definition of the term conductor in Section 0. As a result, the term conductor has been replaced with insulated conductor in many sections of the code. Section 82 has been deleted and has covered a technology that is no longer in use. And there is a new Appendix M containing French translations of markings has been added. Many changes in this edition were developed by cross-functional work groups. Their work is gratefully acknowledged. Now, the code under general arrangements is divided into numbered sections, each covering some main division of work. Sections 0 to 16 and Section 26 are considered general sections of the code, and other sections supplement or amend the general sections. The sections are divided into numbered rules with captions for easy reference. And notice we have a numbering system for the rules and sub-rules. On page 44, second paragraph down, the principal changes have been made between the 2015 edition of the Canadian Electrical Code Part 1 and this new edition published in 2018 are marked in the text by the text of the code by the delta symbol in the margin. That's our delta symbol. Please note, for example, in section 10, which has been heavily changed, the delta symbol is at the beginning of section 10, which represents the entire section has been changed or amended. Metric units on page 45. We're still living in an environment where we use imperial along with the metric units. Please be familiar with the metric units on page 44 and 45. And as tradesmen, we still use quite often the imperial measurements of 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch. Please be aware of the conduit trade size in the Canadian Electrical Code, which is all in metric, but the conversion factors are on page 46. So page 45 and 46, the metric conversion units are very important to become familiar with. Reference publications. Now, many reference publications are referenced in the Canadian Electrical Code. So from page 47 on up to section 0, you'll see many sections that are referenced in this code. So for example, on page 48, if you're looking to see what the CSA Part 2 standard is that references grounding, it is the C22.2 number 41-13, grounding and bonding equipment. For those of you that may be working with park model trailers or recreational vehicles, on page 55, you'll see that the Z240 RV Series 14 talks about recreational vehicles. Or for park model trailers, the CAN/CSA Z241 Series 03, and then in brackets R 2013 is the standard. For those of you that are working with fire alarm systems, on page 63, the CAN ULC S524-14 is the standard for the installation of fire alarm systems. Directly below that, the CAN ULC S531-14 is the standard for smoke alarms. And just above that is the ULC S139-17 standard method for fire test for evaluation. These are the standards that are also referenced in the Canadian Electrical Code.